Hello everyone, how is it going? Avrengost here with a quick update after fully completing Void Shadows, the first DLC for Rogue Trader from Owlcat Games. I already did the first impressions video, and I can confirm that everything I mentioned in those first few hours still holds true. In this video, I'll try not to repeat the same points, but instead share new thoughts after a complete playthrough with the DLC content, and exploring different outcomes by reloading previous saves. That full new run, combined with everything else, brought my hours in Rogue Trader from roughly 360 to 450, taking up a significant chunk of time. You can also load a Chapter 4 save from a previous campaign and inject the DLC if you want a more compact experience. If you want to start a new game, I can tell you that the Void Shadows content integrates organically into the original campaign, starting in Chapter 1, expanding in Chapter 2, and reaching its conclusion in Chapter 4. If you played Rogue Trader before, you know that, without spoilers, Chapter 3 is distinct from the rest of the game, so there is no new DLC content there, except for some companion-related events, and Chapter 5 remains the finale. Of course, I brought Kibella, the new companion, along most of the time, to see how she reacted to story developments and how she performed. For the new content length, I would say it's hard to gauge if the new story content really spans the 15 hours as promised. It seemed longer when reading all the new descriptions, dialogues, and other elements the new content brings. If you're running through it and playing the DLC story beats back to back though, I think it's a fair assessment. As always, I'm avoiding major spoilers, but minor ones are unavoidable if I want to talk about Void Shadows at all, so it depends on your sensitivity to such things. Feel free to skip ahead if you prefer. I should also say that since Void Shadows released alongside a free patch for the base game, some of my observations may overlap since I got both updates at the same time. The new game mode, Grim Darkness, is the Iron Man mode. It allows you to choose your difficulty at the start, but it's locked in once you begin. I played this mode on normal due to other commitments and because I didn't qualify for the Owlcat challenge on daring difficulty. Anyway, on normal, I didn't come close to losing. The worst was two party members going down after a bad call, and the DLC introduces a few interesting challenging fights. I find normal difficulty pretty easy, and I don't consider myself a particularly good tactical mind. But it was also my 5th playthrough this game, so take what you want from that. Your experience may vary. I played the new full run with the Pyromancer, Warrior and Executioner. Not the most optimized build, but very strong in single target damage by half game. The Executioner's damage over time bonuses synergized well, allowing me to incinerate foes and then bleed them out with melee attacks. So much damage triggered that it almost felt like overkill. Speaking of combat, the Blade Dancer blood mechanic can potentially buff your entire party with blood sprays, stacking on top of other buffs. There is something amusing about spraying blood from machines, but I get the choice. Without it, the Blade Dancer would feel limited in some fights. In the full run, I made Kibel an assassin, thinking it would pair well with the Blade Dancer style. However, the synergy wasn't good. While she made many attacks per round, she didn't move much, often ended up stuck in the limited Death Walls range after an attack. Death Walls also didn't work at all when there is a high difference between the Blade Dancer and the enemy, so avoid stairs, catwalks and the like. Some battles turn into comically blood-soaked arenas, with buffs and debuffs everywhere. The DLC adds more combat and quests, so you'll gain more experience and, if you complete everything, reach max level 55 by Chapter 4 on Euphrates. Consequently, you'll be stronger than ever by the endgame. As advertised, new equipment is available both in loot and from merchants. Owlcat added new items to faction merchants, especially at high reputation levels in Chapter 4. With more battles come more loot to sell, making it easier to max out reputation with 3 factions. You still can't max them all, but buying all possible Void ship upgrades from the Imperial Navy is satisfying. Previously, I couldn't max Navy reputation, but it was achievable this time around. Your Void ship now has more equipment slots, broadening your approach to Void combat. A new option, essentially a fighter bay, lets you send out fighters, the same you faced before on the enemy side. They can also be upgraded with ship level ups. My only gripe is that switching between torpedoes and fighters in the UI can be extremely clunky. Void Combat also introduces special zones, granting bonuses or penalties to units within them, like increased evasion or shield effectiveness. You'll need these zones in the challenging Void station fight in Void Shadows. It's a full Wing Commander style assault and isn't easy. I highly recommend using this zone strategically. As for new characters, besides Kibella as a companion, there are new senior officers tied to the DLC storyline. They have unique personalities and play pivotal roles in quests, so I suggest you pay attention to them. Some of them also have ending slides. Void Shadows also expands your ship with more areas, like the Freight Line, a fully operational train for your massive ship, giving insight into the lower deck crew's lives. There are a lot of good storylines tied to those new locations. I wish to tell you more, but I can't. I'll just say that the ship feels more complete now, with new things happening in different areas and you coming and going to solve various situations. My favorite was the Astropathic Chapel. The design team really captured the gothic excess fitting the Warhammer lore. Those new zones also come with great new soundtracks. Kibella's romance is unique, as expected in Warhammer. Without spoilers, it has a mix of creepy moments dating a death cult's assassin and surprisingly introspective scenes, making it interesting. You can also shift her convictions somewhat, affecting her fate. Unexpectedly, new ending slides show her interactions with other companions after the game ends, adding depth to their stories. There is also a brief investigation where you play as Kibella, which was interesting, as it's the first time the game lets you directly play as a companion. I should also mention that there is a new ending that seems to be a nod to the first Fallout, and fans of both games should appreciate the reference. I'm not talking a lot about the story on purpose, I'll just say that as already disclosed, you have to deal with the Gene Stealer infestation on your ship and in your domain. With the release of Space Marine 2, I'd say this is the Tyranny's year. Regarding the overall party progression with the new content, by Chapter 3 I felt Argenta, Cassia and Abelard were the more powerful. With the new loot and faction upgrades, they became absolute beasts in the last 2 chapters of the game. I didn't even use broken builds, but just to make an example, there is a new improved heavy bolter. Also, the late officer class changes didn't feel like a nerf to Cassia and Jai. I was still throwing turns around to rain death upon enemies. As a curiosity, Twitch drops were available briefly. Nothing super interesting, but the Commissar School was crazy. Hopefully, this become available again. Overall, I think Void Shadows is a worthwhile addition to the main story. Minor bugs persist, like occasional interface issues or banter with absent companions, but the game has made significant progress since release. I recommended it before, now it's even better, providing a solid experience. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. As always, please like, comment and subscribe. It helps me reach more gamers around the world. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.